Hi everyone, it's Tanya with Riley and Company here with an assembly video for our July, Christmas in July card kit. I thought I would do an assembly video since there's no event and there's nowhere to watch a video on how to put the cards together. So I thought I'd go ahead and do an assembly video for you guys. So we're gonna make these 3 cards, okay? From start to finish. Shouldn't take too long. It's pretty easy. As most of you know, our card kits come pre-cut, pre-packaged, everything stamped for you. All you have to do is color and glue. So let's get started. Let's see. We'll start with this one. He's a cute little guy. Look at that. Little Tucker. Yeah. Isn't this paper gorgeous? What a cute little card. Poor little Tuck had to go to the vet today, so hello guy. Anyway, so all of the packets come with a photograph of the card itself, so you don't even need to read the instructions. I include them, but most of you just follow along with the photograph and it's really super easy. So we're just going to take our card and we're going to fold it in half, and I am going to grab my trusty zip dry, and you guys know about zip dry, right? Zip dry is like rubber cement in a bottle, and it's absolutely fabulous. I wouldn't use any other glue to assemble cards because you don't need to put it all over your card to start with, right? That's a bonus. And it lets you move it around. So I want to cover the whole cover of this, and notice that it's already stuck on there. If you did that with any kind of tape, you wouldn't be able to move it. You'd have to pull one and it would probably tear something. But with zip dry, it lets you just move it while it's on the paper for about first 20 seconds or so. And then you just squeeze down the edges and you have it absolutely perfect. Look at that. So simple. Then we are going to add the pieces that are pre-cut for you, just like that. This is from our Stacked Shapes die, and I love it. Makes the funnest cards. I actually made a card with just this piece that opened front and back. It was really pretty fun. And this piece. And the paper that we're using this month is Echo Park Hello Winter, and it's so beautiful. Okay, so there's our card base. Pretty simple, right? So we're going to grab all of our other pieces that we have here. And this and that. Alright, we're just going to glue these two together, and to do that, I'm not going to glue them on top of each other, but I'm just going to run a little bit of glue on each of these edges, and I'm going to offset it. And I always do that by starting on the left and getting it where I want it, and then just work it across. Don't try to do it all at once, but having the zip dry that lets you move it is really quite handy. Alright, then on that piece, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Christmas. Alright, I think we'll do that last. So let's go ahead and attach this to the card, and I am going to put it right about just a little bit above this line. But to do that, I'm going to use foam tape. And we will just cut us a few pieces. I don't know about you guys, but when I watch assembly videos of something, I always start the video, if it's not a live, if it's just an assembly video, I just go and I fast forward until I'm at a place where I wouldn't know what to do. So please feel free to do that while I'm doing these lovely tapes, because it's quite boring. Look at that. Alrighty. all my tape is removed, and we are just going to set this on our card kind of in the center. I just want it right in the middle. And there we go. Then I'm going to take my Christmas, and for that I'm going to grab, I want the Christmas to sit on there to where it actually goes to the bottom edge. See that? To where if you look overhead, you wouldn't really be able to see it. I'm going to grab my fine line glue for this because they're little tiny pieces, and my fine line bottle has a little teeny tiny tip, and you can get these at KarenBurniston.com. And I'm only going to glue just the little top, and we'll lay it on there. And you might want to refer to your photograph for this so you know where to put it. And just sit it right on there. Straighten it out. And then do the next one. Make sure you have all the little pieces, parts poked out. Alright, now we're going to do just the top half. So let's go to that. Just a little bit. And line and this is the eye, the dot up for the eye. Let's line this up. And there we have it. And in the fine line bottle, I always use Line Co PH. We have that over at KarenBurniston.com as well. All right, and the great thing about that glue is that it dries clear. So if you get a little bit on the edges, we're just going to wipe it off. There you go. That is on there nice and neat. So the next thing we're going to do, let's put a tree here flat. Grab my zip dry. And here's a little tip for your zip dry. I always leave my zip dry just laying sideways. And it's pretty thick, so it won't run out. And that way you don't always have to wait for it to empty. Now here is this, and we're going to put that right there. And we're going to, I never glue all of the snowflakes down, just around the edges. That way they kind of lift up, you know, it just kind of looks a little organic. And we finally have a little hearts in the silver mirror. And I usually get asked when we're live where I get my silver mirror from. And I get it from the paper cuts. You can go online, thepapercut.com, and get that. And the last thing we have to do is to color Tucker. My little buddy had a hard vet day today. So all I'm going to do to color Tucker is I'm using an E33. And those colors are in your instructions. I always put the Copic colors that I use in your instructions. And we're just going to outline the eyes. That's okay. And then the rest of it's all going to be filled in. So I don't even worry about the edges. I just go with a circular motion because it blends better that way. Your alcohol markers will blend better. And I just go over the whole thing, and I intentionally go off the edge so that my edges, I make sure that I have color on my edge as well. So, and one thing about Copic markers, I can't talk and color at the same time. One thing about Copic markers is you can get a deeper color with the same colored marker, okay? So I put one layer on, right? if I bring in another layer, look at the shading. Look at how much difference it is. But I always like to give it a really good two coat base. Alrighty. And then I'm going to use it a third time. Sometimes they work a third time, sometimes not. But with my shadows now, I'm going to grab my E35. And I'm just going to come in around his ear and under his chin and the legs that are on the back side and probably his tail and maybe just a little bit right here and along the bottom, just to give him some shading. All right, and the final thing I'm going to do is put some blue in his eyes. In putting a blue, you can use a B00, you can use a B000, whatever is to your liking. I used a BG01, that's just the color I grabbed. I don't know if that's what's on your kit or not. But it's just a nice line of blue, and it just brightens the eyes just a little bit. See that? It'll fade in a bit. Just makes it a little more blue. Use a little pink for his nose. And he's done. And we are going to use foam tape, and we're going to sit him right in front of the tree. And there we have it. Card one. Oops. Card one is done. So easy, isn't it? Love it. Okay, so we are going to move on in afterwards. I guess I could do it now, but I'm not going to spend the time. Afterwards, I just put crystal lacquer always on the eyes because look at the difference that it makes. It just makes them shiny. Okay, that's done. Card one. Let's move on to our next card, which is Felix the cat. Being a naughty cat, I should have named that cat Puff, but I had this cat before we had Puff. So. Anyway, Puff is a redhead too, and she is naughty cats. All right. So these are all of our pieces. We just pull it out and do the same thing. So we're going to fold this in half. We're going to grab our base, and that's a pretty piece too, isn't it? Isn't it really nice? This paper is, I may have already told you, Hello Winter by Echo Park. Some of the most beautiful colors. Now I know not everybody is a blues for Christmas kind of person, but I don't mind it. I like different colors every once in a while. All right, we're going to lay this on here. We're going to use our zip dry to move it around and make sure it's nice and straight. Smash it down and grab our next layer, which is also a stacked shapes. These are fun. Ooh, that's pretty too, huh? Should we do that with this one? What do you think? Yeah. So your original one is this. So you can turn it over and use this if you choose. It's on both sides. I think we shall. Just to see. And you are just going to put that on and center it along the top and the sides. The only problem with using the back side is you don't get the really cool indentions of the front die, but that's okay. Now we're going to take our smaller little banner and we're going to put it right there. And I'm going to align that with the top. And here's the saying, so we're going to take the saying and glue it on. And all we have left to do is to glue this tree to this tree, and we're going to offset it just a bit. Now I have some You'll probably have some poking out to do. You can get your little pick and poke tool out. Every time I use this, everybody goes, oh, what have you got? What have you got? It's the Riley & Co. pick and poke tool. And it has sticky on one end. It's got a little wax end on one end. This is a gorgeous little die, but it sure does take a minute to get all these cute little pieces out, especially from the silver mirror. The silver mirror is actually cardstock and mylar put together, and it's a little difficult to cut through because it's thicker to start with, but mylar has a different property than cardstock, so it takes a minute to get an intricate die cut out of there. I think we're almost there. One last piece. Alrighty, let's clean up this mess. Okay, now I'm not so sure that I'm going to, yeah, probably have to. I was gonna see if I could get away with not poking these out, but I don't think it's gonna happen. But they will go much quicker. Alright, just like that. And what we're going to do is take our KB glue, and I'm just going to come in the back and just dot it every so often. Just come around here and just like that. I'm not going to cover all of it, but specifically on the edges, you're going to want to, get those and some in the middle. And just like that. And then I'm going to take it and I'm going to offset it just a bit, like I did the words on the last one, just to give it a little bit of a shadow. Okay, just like that. And then we are going to glue this to that. And for that, I'm going to use my zip dry. And I'm going to be very light-handed about it. Now zip dry will come off when you rub it, so if you get some through the front, it's okay. I'm going to glue this on here. And I'm going to take my little towel. I'm just going to rub it along. Because your silver mirror will pick up all these adhesives, but you can clean it very easily. Just rub it. Buff it out. And it'll all come off. Beautiful. Now we're going to put some foam tape on this, and that will go right up here, and then we will color Felix. Oh, I forgot a piece. Okay, so I have a piece left over. Now let me show you why zip dry is so vital. Watch this. If I put it on with zip dry, again, you can lift it off. If it is within probably 20-30 seconds, you can lift that up off the paper without it tearing anything. It is so fabulous. I have used that little trick a couple times in the last couple days making cards. And I promise that wasn't on purpose. So that is going to go there. And then our tree, I'm going to slide it over. And then our tree is going to go down. I got a little bit extra. There we go. Now our tree has a base to sit on. And finally, we have little Felix. Now Felix, I'm only going to use one color. I grabbed a YR04 because remember when I said that you can shade with the same marker? I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm going to give him one coat. And I'm only going to do his tail and this hand and his face because that's all you're going to see. Excuse me. All right. Then I'm just going to, there's not a whole lot of shading you can do with this because he's behind the tree, but I'm just going to give a little bit under here and a little bit on his ears. That's all, and a little bit in his paws. Okay, and a little bit under his tail. So the next thing, let's add a little bit of the RV10 to his ears and his nose, and then we'll put a little bit of the blue in his eyes. Isn't he cute? So now what we're gonna do, and it doesn't hurt him at all, I promise, we're just gonna cut his head off and his hand off and his tail off. Okay, and then we are going to pick the spot where we want his head popped out, which will probably be right there, and then we're going to just imagine him in this tree. So we're going to tuck, no, that's a little bit too, let's see, a little bit too far. And I don't want that much to show, so I'm going to trim that off and use a little bit of my KB glue. And so that's going to go right there. And so with him being right there, his tail would probably be what? You suppose right here? Yup. So that's where we'll put it. Right about there. Now with his head, I am going to use a little bit of foam tape and pop it up. And tuck it right in underneath there, and then add a little bit of foam tape to the seam. And we're going to put that right on there. Easy peasy. And that card's done. So either side of that paper looks really fun on this card, doesn't it? You see him a little bit more on this one, but I like this one too. So that's card number 2. And finally, we are on our third card, which is an easel card. And they're so simple. I really hope everybody tries this. They are so easy. Some glue and we are good to go. Little glue, little folding, little coloring. And it's a quick little card. So let's just take this front piece, and there's 2 pieces that are identical. One goes on the inside and one goes on the outside. So let's do the inside first. And I guarantee you when you guys are making these cards, you'll look and you go, oh, this side's really pretty too, because there was a side that was all of them were pretty. It was hard to choose sides. So I'm going to line that up with my folds. Slide it in place. And then I'm going to do the same to my front. Now, this is a little different. We're going to fold this top piece in a minute, okay? So I want to put this piece of paper on first, and normally I would not have you put glue in the middle, but we're going to because there's going to be a fold here. So I want lots of glue here and lots of glue there. Well, not lots, but glue anyway, okay? So we're going to put it around the edge, of course, and then we're just going to do this, and we're just going to do this. I want to make sure I get enough so that when I fold it, when it's dry, that it doesn't move on me. Okay, I'm just going to press that down and I'm going to let it sit. Because if there's only one downfall to zip dry, it is not a quick adhesive that stays in place. You have to give it a few seconds. That is why I use this glue. That's my quick adhesive, and my zip dry is my little mobile one. All right, so we're just going to set it aside and let it sit for a second, okay? We will do our remaining parts. I'm going to glue this to this right here. And then I'm going to glue these 3 pieces together. All right. Just like this. And just like this. This may be the quickest one. All right. Then I'm going to take my little piece of glitter paper, and you can get this from the paper cut too. I'm going to put it down there. I always like to have something for them to stand on, or, you know, as a base. You just don't want to throw Christmas trees and have them stand there and, you know what I mean. He's standing on nothing. So let's put a little bit of this here. And a little bit here. All right, and then we are just going to add our snowflakes wherever we want. On there. And if your zip dry gets goopy, you see that? Goopy around the top? It's okay. This is like rubber cement, so you can just take it off and it rubs right off your hands. Completely. Just like old rubber cement used to. You guys remember the jars of rubber cement with a really nasty little brush thing? It's this, only way better. So it's a rubber adhesive type glue. There we go. And we should have about 3 of them. Yeah, we'll put one right there. Okay. Let's see. So we've got this piece. Now all we have to do is color our Riley. We have this. And we'll wait on that for just a second. We're going to color Riley. Now Riley, the colors I use for Riley are always E33, E35, and E47. And you can find that, I believe there's a coloring video for Riley under his stamp. So I'm just going to kind of outline it, make sure I go off the edge, and then I'm going to do my circles. And the reason I do circles is, watch this. I want to show you guys. I got to get my glue off there. So if you try to shade like that, right? You can get lines. If you shade like this, look at how much more solid it is. Circles are good. And you can get tricks and tips like that in my other coloring videos if you want to watch them. They're out on YouTube. There's lots of coloring videos out there with all kinds of tips and tricks. Now I'll take my E35. Sometimes I use it, sometimes I really don't. I want to add just a little bit of shading to his ears and under his hats. Just a little bit, not much. Under here, probably around the bottom. Definitely back in there, and just a little under here. All right. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take my B93. I'm going to color in his little suit. I love this little outfit that he has on. So cute. And there's that, and then I just need to do his hat. Okay, I'm going to go over it a second time. Oops. Alrighty, I'm going to take my B95. That was 93, so I'm going to take my 95 and just add some shading where there would be some. Back in under his neck, definitely under here, along this little edge, and along the hat's edge, of course, and then back underneath here. Okay. Let's take E47 and do his ears. Antlers, not his ears, sorry. Little antlers. And his hooves. All right, he's almost there. All we need to do, I think I'm going to give him one more round with this, just give him a little bit of shading down in there. Okay, and a little bit of more shading on his little hoofs. And then all we have to do, I am going to do that right in there to put some cocoa in that cup. And I chose a BG01, a little teal color, to do my coffee cup. You can choose whatever color you want. Just gonna fill it in. Okay, I'm gonna let it sit, and then I'm gonna come back and give it another coat just down along the bottom and on the handle. Okay. Now you can also use a white pen if you want. Let me show you the fun tricks you can do with a white pen. A white pen will give you highlights. So if we wanted to do some highlights in his hats and a little over his antlers and maybe some along the coffee cup rim and along his sweater. Yeah, look at that. Maybe a couple little lines on his ears. It just gives it a little something. Okay, so we're going to take this and we're going to take this and we're going to add foam tape to both of them. And this. I just go right down the center. I don't really, I'm not too detailed with my tape. There we go. Now I'm going to set this aside for a second, and I'm going to come back and grab our card, and we're just going to open it up, and we're going to fold the top in half again. Okay, just like that. Just fold it right up to the line. You can use a bone folder if you want. You can use the edges of your scissors if you want to give it a nice crease. All right, just like that. And then we're going to take our sentiment and put it in here, and that is going to be what I call a stop for your card, okay? Just a stop. I'm not sure why that's like kind of leaning on me. Okay, ready? And you can put it anywhere on the inside that you want to put it. I kind of usually try to center it along the bottom, or, you know, somewhere about like that. And then it stops everything just like that. So we are going to glue this piece to the fronts, but we want it to be right along that bottom. See that? Just like that, but we only want to glue to this bottom piece right here. So now if your zip dryer ever gets stuck like that, again, it's just because the front's gummied up. Just do that. You're back in business. Okay. I'm going to lay that right on there. Get it nice and centered. And then you'll notice when it's open, it's going to sit behind that tape, right? So you're just going to take your little Riley and you're going to sit it on top of that blue. This right here. You're going to set it right on top of that, and then you'll know where he'll go on there. So it looks like he's standing on the bottom piece instead of the top piece. And it's going to set him on there, let him fall where he goes. And there you have it. And that is your card. Easy, huh? Look at that. Yes. There's some stickles on the snowflakes. Put some crystal lacquer on his coffee cup, and you are good to go. There's all 3 cards. Here's our Felix card, and our little Tucker card, and our Riley card. Don't forget, if you want any of the dies or the stamps with this, you can head out to RileyandCompanyOnline.com, and I will talk to you soon. Have a fabulous day. Take care.